Hope all is well. Back at you today with some more RTD News updates. And as you can tell from today's title, Congress is coming after your 401k. America's pension crisis is getting worse. I'm going to be covering several different articles, all dealing with the ongoing pension crisis we're experiencing here in America and what is to come. And so we're only 4 days into the new year, and already we have news about countries deciding to remove themselves or rethink the dollar, or aka dump the dollar. President Erdogan in Turkey tells his citizens in order to help the country out, it'd be in your best interest to go under your pillow, grab the dollars, the euros, and gold. And as you tell from today's title, how the baby boomers will lose their retirement nest egg, I want to share with you a couple thoughts as well as some articles on how the next market correction will be catastrophic for a lot of people. Always cash crisis worse. About Venezuela once again. Still making important thanks. They removed the 1,000 called monetary awareness.
All right, we are live for an earlier edition. And today I want to make this more of an RTD news update. I won't be with you guys long, but just want to check in because I need some help. And so, I have more of my spidey senses going off, and I want to, get some participation from the community to help me better navigate this thesis that I'm trying to put together, or hypothesis, what word I want to use. But it has a lot to do with how all the pieces of the puzzle for me, in reference to what I've been paying attention to as a skeptic, that's extremely concerned with the euphoria taking place in the digital asset space, and how I find it very hard to believe that there's not more people out there asking some serious questions in the sudden shift of the narrative heading towards this digital transition that we're being steered towards. And so I got some thoughts I want to share, but more importantly, this is a participation live stream to where I'm looking forward to basically getting your feedback, because what I'm looking to do, based upon the feedback I get from you guys, on top of all the other thoughts I have, I'm going to try to put together the best argument that I can to just show bullet by bullet, point by point, things that need to be addressed. And when everything is said and done, I'm going to take it and I'm going to actually put forth an effort to reach out to influencers in the digital asset space and just throw it out there and just, ask for, their thoughts and ideas and suggestions. So I'll probably look to have more crypto influencers. I'll reach out to them and see if they want to join me on the channel and, go through some of those deep dive, let's stay away from those question type of things if they're interested, so that people can have a well-rounded viewpoint as to what's going on and not just believe the hype in reference to the whole digital asset space, where it's going, and things of that nature. So looking forward to doing that. So this is going to, probably be a 1 or 2 video process. But then again, before I move on to my next Banksters magazine, Confessions of a Crypto Skeptic video, I wanted to just, cover all my grounds on this one here in reference to the video I did, I think it was on Monday, about how things have gone full circle to where central banks are beyond excited to explore the opportunity in Bitcoin, I'm sorry. But anyway, so for those checking in, I appreciate you guys for joining me. Doing a little bit earlier just because, change of schedule, whatnot. But I want to make sure I include you guys. And if you happen to watch the replay, definitely leave comments, and I'll try to comb through them and pull ideas out so everybody can have a chance to let their voice be heard, or their thoughts, responded to. So real quick, for those that might be new to communities also, I want to make sure I welcome you first time. Typically go at 4 p.m., but dial and do a little bit earlier just due to, as I mentioned, some schedule conflicts. But if you're new, make sure you hit the subscribe button and hit the bell notification. Hopefully you're notified based upon the algorithms. And also make sure you guys, plug in with the social media platforms, Telegram and Discord, particularly because those are the ones I'll share things from. From every time somebody send me something, I put it back on those things, and so I'm probably up to 1, maybe sometimes 2, depending on how late it is, getting notifications, just because I love to stay plugged into stuff. So I do get my sleep anyway. So let me just stop ranting. So I put together, as I mentioned, a thesis, and I want to get your guys' thoughts on it because I want to make sure I'm not completely delusional and just completely gone off the cuff to where I'm missing something. So I want to make sure I cover all my angles, and what better audience to reach out to that know how I think other than the RTD community. So I put together a visual aid, and I want to get your thoughts on it. It's more so just I'm trying to put together the pieces of the puzzle. And so, in talking about what's on the screen here, as you guys can see, it says the Rothschild's Hegelian Dialect. And so I had to do a little diving to fully understand and grasp that concept, because the way that I've always known it, it's, the problem, reaction, solution, which can be equated to all types of areas of life. Because ultimately, and as you guys can see at the very top of this, it all starts with an agenda. And so, despite what might be occurring at the moment and how exciting things might be, especially referring to the digital asset space, I want to make sure I refer people to go back to the original agenda. And that's why each one of these little bullets in between those two magazine covers, from the agenda to the synthesis at the very bottom, we're going to go through this, and I'm going to get your feedback, because when I put together this presentation or this, paper or whatever, however it turns out on my end, and I submit it to all the people in the crypto sphere, I'm hoping to get some serious feedback. So I want to make sure I cover all my grounds and go from there. So anyway, and this video was inspired by something I shared in the Discord, or the Telegram Discord, a couple hours ago that came across my radar. And it happens to be with the sudden shift by one of the primary ringleaders in this global heist, from the precious metals being removed from our possession to the advent of redeemable notes, all the way to the swiping of cards. And it happens to be one of the globally systemic important banks that has all of a sudden changed tunes. And for me, it's obvious that it was always there. But then again, for others, it may not be as clear. But based upon the information I'm going to present to you in a moment, it's like, how can you not have seen that? How can you not see that? And that's where I want to make sure I'm just not completely gone to where things can make sense to somebody else. And then I can hopefully relay it to where other people can understand it. So let me just get to what made me wanted to come up with this little concept. I call it the RHD, which you guys can see at the top, the three words at the top. And it has to do with this particular headline right here. So when I saw this, I'm thinking, I wonder how many people might be surprised that all of a sudden, at the same time, world leaders are right now working out your future. JP Morgan has decided to change the narrative to what they consider to be the preferred alternative asset class. And so when I saw that, I'm like, man, I got to definitely, put some thoughts on video and check with the community and get thoughts and ideas, because I'm thinking like, well, duh, like for me personally, it's like, I already saw this coming, so it wasn't new to me. But then again, there's the people who are not a part of this flock, in a sense, that might say, what I'm saying, like, it's just a matter, it was inevitable. They couldn't, they can't beat it. They, what I'm saying, it's the saying, you can't beat it, you might as well join it. And I'm thinking to myself, for the person who thinks that way, are you serious? Do you really think that they can't beat it, so their motto is to just join it? Do you not know how we arrived at this point to where it's an option to be an asset class, and you don't think they got their hands in on all this? But that's just me. So that's why I need your help. And so to even go further, when I saw this, I'm like, wow, like this is different. So I actually saw a tweet, but I had to just verify that tweet. So I grabbed this. And so it says, JP Morgan says, Bitcoin and crypto is now its preferred alternative asset class. And so for people who are skeptical, you're not surprised. But then again, I'm trying to reach the people who have taken the orange pill, swallowed it, digested, and it's absorbed them, and it's allowed them to lose all human rationale and logic and reason to think that this direction is for the people. That's my biggest point. That's what I'm trying to get to. So anyway, real quick, it says, after a steep decline in cryptocurrency, JP Morgan has said that their fair price of Bitcoin is 28% higher than its present level, implying that there is a, quote, considerable upside from here for the flagship digital asset. Like I said before, because this whole pathway down this digital revolution train is designed to distract, as well as to distract us, as well as to, I got another word, I can't think of it, but it'll get to me in a minute, so that we are not focused on solely the economic pain that's happening in the legacy system. There needs to be a smidget of hope for those that would be labeled as early adopters. And the early adopters are the ones that took the orange pill and are the ones that out here are now leveraging their platforms, telling people, all this stuff about where the price of an Bitcoin computer software will end up going, as if it's not obvious, because as fiats die, it has to go somewhere into other things. But the question will be, will the valuation of whatever those fiat currencies are running to, are they going to be something that you can trust in down the line? In reference to the digital side, it is and this is where I gotta calm down because I get a little beyond myself. I am more than confident that the consensus model for every single cryptocurrency we experience now, which are all beta version 1s, will change moving forward. And the reason I can say that with such confidence is because a part of the distraction and the diversion with this digital illusion of wealth creation is that it allows the monetary authorities to further develop their blockchain digital ledger technology approach towards how they're going to rebuild this system after it caves in on itself. And so, as a result of that, you cannot, as I put this, you cannot pull off the greatest heist in humanity and having people believe that there's long-term value in computer code and be willing to forfeit and give up and turn in their weight, gold and silver, if there wasn't something that was so strong to pull people down that rabbit hole and have them be willing to base their entire platforms off of computer software written by a fictitious character that nobody seems to care about, but is the creator of the movement that they basing their lives on. So that's a long rant. Anyway, and so Carlos, Ray Dalio just said recently, NBC, I saw that. You know what I'm saying? But he's, he said he got some portfolio. But once again, as I said before, Ray Dalio, if you just look at his narrative over the last year or two or so, and how he's jumped on the China train, his agenda, his allegiance has already been shifted to the East, because he needs to be in a great position of power during this reboot process, so that when the shoe's on the other foot and China is elevated to the next global powerhouse and all those ghost cities are filled in with Chinese people coming in from across the country to then become a credit-based, consumption-based economy, while we over here are on the manufacturing side, sending our goods over there similar to the way things are now. He wants to be on the receiving end of all that currency that will be utilized to make sure his business and his legacy continues to go for quite some time. And in order to get to that point, you got to say some things, do some things that, you may not typically do, but once you're in that club, at this point in the game, you have to comply, or you won't be in that club much longer. Anyway, that's just a little rant. So, but my whole point was, it's hard for me to continue to stress the importance of people being critical and taking everything with a grain of salt, doing your own homework, and trying to get down to the grassroots genesis as to how, what, why, and where we're here. Okay. ISP, people give up their medals just because the lure of gains. You'll be surprised that, because there's so many people out here 100xing off of crap coins, getting in early, Shiba Inus and all that other stuff, the enticement is strong. But there are winners, but the majority are losers. Anyway, so I'm ranting too much. Okay, so let me get to the point. So after coming across this, and so let me just get to this. So, okay, it says American banking giant strategists, including Nicholas, whoever, appended a note. The past month's crypto market correction looks more like capitulation relative to last January, February, and going forward, we see upside for Bitcoin and crypto markets more generally. Okay, when governments will turn on a monetary spigot again, the funds have to go somewhere. And as an escape hatch out of the legacy financial products, they're going to be able to convince a lot of younger and older pensioners, retirees, baby boomers, to run to the exit to escape the complete demolition of the equities markets and all the other things that are illusionary style wealth approaches. And so Bitcoin will be mighty tempting for trillions of dollars in the very near future because of the stuff that they're running from. They're running from something. So anyway, Jamie Dimon and his whole crew is going to be well positioned to be able to sell you Bitcoin and take on your account and fractional reserve style Bitcoin that you won't have because it's in their wallet. Okay. So when I saw this, it made me wonder, okay, I'm like thinking about, man, it's just the same guy who said something like this. Didn't this guy say that Bitcoin is a fraud? And I'm thinking like, okay, this 2017. So this article here was September. So this is prior to the 2017 rally. So of course it was a sucker move. We all know that his German district of JP Morgan ended up coming in, one of their subsidiaries ended up buying up a whole lots of Bitcoin well before the run up. And then of course dumping it to make profit. And so the 2017 rally was a sucker rally that got everybody excited. It paved the way for the bankers to officially come in during the down times and to solidify themselves as the financiers, as well as the overseers of this asset class. And it has everything to do with the fact that majority of people in the crypto space were waiting on, as the word I always love to use, adoption. Institutional adoption. Little did they know that institutional adoption was a part of the plan from the genesis of all this. And they were actually promoting and providing free publicity for JP Morgan and all the other big institutions. Because if you look at who funds all this, you'll see the same players that got us in this mess. And let's walk through that real quick. Okay. So back to how this came about. Based upon articles you guys saw there, I couldn't help but try to put more of the pieces of the puzzle together. So I formulated this thesis, and so I need your help with this thesis. So this is for everybody to participate. And if you're catching the replay, as I mentioned, throw comments in the downside. And then if we got any great writers out there, any people who also make video content, this is where you can come in handy, because you'll have a chance to chime in on this and add to this, and it'll further help build up the case that I'm trying to present to crypto influencers, as I just ask these questions and see if there is any chance or any probability that they think that all this was a setup from Jump Street. Okay. So to go back on the Hegelian dialect concept, I want to dive further other than just a problem, reaction, solution thesis. I wanted to, really hone in. So I just typed in Hegelian dialect. And so this particular image came up here. And so I'm like, okay, let me try to, I was going to do this on my own. I was going to do some things and try to, put it all together myself. I'm like, what better way to do this other than to put it all together and let you guys chime in. So let me see here. Hegelian dialect. At the very top of this, the problem, reaction, solution model, there has to be an agenda. So this is my question to you guys. Throw out in the chat, because I probably won't get to any phone calls. Throw out in the chat the agenda that you guys believe has led to this whole idea of us being told in January of 1998 that around this time frame, fiat currencies would be burning and the world would be in need of a new world currency. And then all of a sudden, by happenstance, there happened to be all the things that we're experiencing now, to the point where JP Morgan now is excited about the future of this alternative asset class. So this is where I want to put this together. So what I need from you guys is, as you guys can see, it says agenda. And this is just from somebody else's work, but I want to piggyback this because this is in relation to the money system. It says centralization of power through a monopoly currency. And so I have my thoughts, but I'm curious to get yours. So as far as the overall agenda, if you were to take a 1,000-foot viewpoint, go up and look down on everything we're experiencing and where you think this is heading, what do you think some of the agendas are? So feel free right now in the chat to let me know, what do you guys think about what this agenda is? Because I can tell you mine, but then again, it wouldn't be any good to you guys. as far as participation's sake. So let's talk about this. I'm curious to see, what do you guys think the ultimate agenda is? Because I think if we put this together correctly, we can backtrack to all the players involved based upon the success of all the current entities and companies and people that are quite obvious right now. So you can't deny that there has been more billionaires, trillionaires, or billionaires rather, created over the last 2 years in particular that are helping get us to that great reset agenda. So to make it that much easier to be able to call those people out, as well as being connected with everything, which I believe goes back to the banking sector, as well as a central banking model. But anyway, so let me just check in real quick. So feel free to throw out ideas as to the overall agenda, because I want to make sure I don't miss anything. So we got Belly Dance, says food, house, money, family will never be digital, no doubt. But then again, if you're in a world where it's completely unstable and your financial wealth is trapped in a system that doesn't belong to us, and also being rebooted at the same time, where there's a likelihood that accounts are wiped clean because of, contract defaults, delinquencies, bankruptcy, all those words, and people find out they don't own nothing in that financial world, then all the real world things will be hard to provide for yourself and to secure. So that's just something to consider. Okay, so let me get here. Give me some thoughts here. Let me see here. Let me stay on track. Mike, number one, race for their liking. Make one race of their liking. Pay me money back. What are we referring to here? He says, make one race of their liking. Let me know what you're talking about. James says, global taxation slavery. That's the agenda. Global taxation slavery. I think that's, James, that's a good one. I can definitely use that one. That is the only way they can enslave humanity, a digital ledger. Okay, so these are agendas. We're still on the agenda. It says, if you don't hold it, you don't own it. Own nothing, bit scam, and be happy. The agenda, okay, looks like a good one. Doku says the agenda is wealth extraction. It says the elite, A, don't like competition, and B, make money by manipulating retail investors. They need a permanent debt class for the system to work. Okay, that sounds like, that's definitely some bullet type stuff right there. Let me see what else we got. Margin call of all margin calls on the margin callers. Okay, it says I don't own much now, and I ain't happy. Dude, boy. The biggest thing I think we own is the ability to speak freely right now and travel freely, whatever that means. But ultimately, I do agree with, the overall agenda. And this is where, let me be patient with me. This is where I think, as a part of this Hegelian dialect, that I give credit to the individuals here, because to my knowledge, there's more. This is the longest running family that we all know has a linkage to the central banking model, based upon the founder, the father, was it 1700 and something, give or take, and his involvement with royalties and families and nations and governments. And so that's the best linkage. That's why I just gave them credit for this, because you'll never hear people in any other circle really, give credit where credit's due. You got to give credit where credit's due. You know what I'm saying? You got to point back to the obvious, entity that has basically solidified themselves in the banking model, the government model, you name it. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I don't mind giving credit where credit's due, because, they deserve it. Anyway, but the biggest thing is helping people wake up and realize that they've been planning this since day one. This is a much more sinister plan than we're even talking about right now. And so let me just share with you my agenda, and I'll wait for more people to share their agendas, and then we'll move on to each. We got 3 more points here. So the goal, when all this is done, for those that are just coming in, my goal is to put together my thesis, or our thesis, in a way to where it makes sense, to where I can cover all angles, and then present it to people in the crypto space and just ask them, like, what do you guys think? Is this probable? Is this too far-fetched? Am I, like, too far gone, conspiratorial? Or are some of these things worth mentioning to your people so that they got a well-rounded viewpoint? and not just solely concern themselves with profiting off this transition, because you got to realize in a digital world that is where the code is not written by you, when the consensus changes, which it will within, I'll just say 3 to 4 years, the narrative on Bitcoin will change. Mark my words. Then at that point, if your wealth is still in that system, thinking it's going to compound, like Michael Saylor said, 100 years from now, I'm not selling my Bitcoin. Yeah, Michael knows what's up. And so I'm actually going to reach out to him too and see if I can have him on the show and ask him this. And I probably won't get him on here, but that's the type of stuff I like to have. I like to stir the pot. I like to ruffle some feathers, just because, I might be the only one out here who like doing that. So anyway, I'm rambling too much. A couple more agendas here. Then we'll keep it moving. There will be nice on Space Brothers. That would be nice on Space Brothers. Spaces, brother. Let me see here. Spaces. Oh, to join them on Spaces, like the Twitter Spaces. It says everybody has been contributing to the elite banking system for years with their credit cards and debt cards, banking system for years. Crypto is no different. No doubt, Michael. We've all played our part in helping the money trust, the robber barons, which they've been known throughout the last couple 100 years, execute their agenda. We're all complicit, I can admit. But then again, we're complicit because nobody really knew up until social media really exposed a lot of things, how bad things really were. And to where now social media makes it that much easier for people to Google things. You probably won't Google and find anything because they're going to remove it, but be able to research things and come up with your own viewpoints that can help you further remove yourself as best as you can from the matrix. And so once you know better, you do better. So everybody here who's awake and aware, you've taken steps well in advance to minimize the systemic risk that's unfolding right now. But then again, as I always say, you can't avoid it because it's this entire planet that we're on. It's going to experience some shocks. But the problem that bothers me is the fact that right now in Switzerland, based upon a video I did yesterday, I'm also curious to get your guys' thoughts on the video I did yesterday, trying to stir the pot a little bit in reference to how global leaders can get together and create our futures, but the body of Christ and other religions, for that matter, can't assemble and put their future plans to vote and say, you know what, maybe I don't want to participate in that stuff. We'll pass. That doesn't happen. So this is just my point. Anyway, okay, let's keep moving. So the agenda. So I can give you my agenda. My agenda, and this goes, as I mentioned, back to this example that was given. The agenda of the current digital asset space that is taking over the globally systemic important banks is about, as it says here, the centralization of all human energy and humanity. And I just came to it a moment ago because I do follow a lot of crypto people, and they love talking about Bitcoin being universal, unmatchable, unfathomable energy in a space. And even Michael Saylor is like, if you had an apartment building and on the internet, you can rent it out at million miles times per light. And I'm thinking like energy. They love using the word energy. And so they move beyond the fact it's just computer code. They talk about the capabilities of it. And I'm thinking like, that is real. So, and I also, when I think about this, I realize how important the blockchain space is, because blockchain is the primary mechanism they're going to use to further the digital surveillance internally and externally, the health, digital ID, everything that deals with your identity will be boiled down to some ledger and some blockchain controlled by whoever wrote the code type of thing. And so in order to execute all that, they need to buy some time with all these digital distractions of illusionary wealth, i.e. Bitcoin and everything between, because they can't take over the world if they didn't give people something to, distract them and to keep them excited and allow them to go out and get free publicity. So while they build the next, global enslavement system. So the concentration and centralization of government and energy, meaning that your entire being, when you move in the morning, you create energy. They want to own your movement, i.e. smartwatch. You're giving them your pulse, your blood type, and everything else in between. So imagine that, but inside the body, to where they didn't got to do nothing. From the moment you wake up, they make money off you. Your data, your DNA and data is the new currency once all this blows through. That's the agenda, in my opinion. Could be wrong, but, we'll see. Anyway, let's keep it moving. So the problem, the thesis. So if this is the example, the thesis or the problem. So here's the problem. To execute their agenda of enslaving humanity by stealing energy, time, and DNA from us and owning it themselves and being our slave masters, because we'll have to beg them, ask them for permission to do things. And if we are overweight, they're gonna knock our credit score down, that type of stuff. How do they create what's the problem they got to create to get this job done? Here we got hyperinflationary currencies that destroys nations, extracts all the wealth by removing real world assets, housing, shares of companies, land. Bill Gates bought a land. They use all that to make it their own in a central control, because they're going to, government and private sector together will be now. That's the new world agenda. And so the problem is they've executed that. They've executed their attempt to ravage through humanity. And so this is what they told us. So this gets to the problem. This is what they told us. This is what they told us in 1988. Get ready for a world currency. Why? Because there will be burning currencies, i.e. inflation, hyperinflations, or wherever you look at it. This is the problem that they told us that we would have once they were done with their agenda. So now we get into how this is a part of the plan. Initially, they told us the problem. Currencies would burn. And I even read the other day talking about how at some point there will be a currency that all nations, that all public businesses will want to use. And I use the word Satoshis. That's a cover-up. And so they're talking about CBDCs, interoperability, all that stuff like that, helping the unbanked, helping financial inclusion, all that stuff is their part of their solution. So anyway, did I miss anything? Let me know the thesis or the problem. Feel free to let me know the problem, your guys' thoughts on the problem. Throw out some ideas. It says bankers have bought the houses with money that did not exist and cheated every citizen out of his own home. Print and steal. That sounds about right. They caused the problem, and of course, they're about to come in with the solution. And it helps when you get free publicity of people helping spur on the idea of digital computer code being the answer. We need accountability. We need accountability to be held with justice. Without that, we don't stand a chance, period. World Economic Forum will succeed 100%. ISP is as much as of a real statement that is, and this is where, the resistance is through knowledge first to get people to then act. But then once you act, you got to realize what's at stake. If everybody came together after they realized that this is all a sham and now they demanded justice, that's how civil events occur. Revolutions type things occur when people are fed up. And with that type of activity comes a large loss of human life. So you got to ask yourself, and this is just me talking to myself, and I heard this. I got, somebody let me know if where this originated from. I think I know who it is, but this is how severe things are. Not for my generation, but for the generations under me, your children, your children's children type stuff. If a man hasn't found something worth dying for, he's never found a reason worth living. I think that's Nelson Mandela. Somebody verify that for me. So you got to ask yourself, are you willing, if things got real, are you willing to lay it down for your freedom, for your future? Think about how this country was formed. We left the monarchy, that's what we're told, and here we are now under a different version of a monarchy. They're meeting right now in Switzerland, and you know how many people decide to sacrifice. So, yeah. Anyway, I'm rapping too much. So let's keep moving. So the thesis, as I said here, is the problem. Currencies are burning right now. They told us that. Be ready for something, a world currency in 2008. This is my thesis. This is what I believe. And so to move right on across, what's the reaction? So here, according to the example here, it says gold standard, honest money. So problem reaction. What's the reaction? Well, if fiat currencies are burning And it's because of lack of trust of government's ability to run surpluses or deficits. They can't manage themselves. And then the common theme that is being discussed by all the mainstream pundits in Switzerland is the financial inclusion and the unbanked. There's 60% of the human race or more in Africa and all the underdeveloped countries that don't have bank accounts. We need to do something about that. We need to help people get established with credit and everything else, and help people save and be able to grow their businesses and provide them access to the capital. Is that all there is? No, there's more than that. It's a lot deeper than that. But that's what we're being sold. So the reaction is give people something that they can be involved in. And what better way to do that other than utilizing technology? We now have the opportunity to create computer code that can allow people to, not have to worry about payment remittances where they're losing money to the banks and to things like that. We need to concentrate power and use the fintech, PayPal's and instant transactions and all those buzzwords. That's the solution. And what better person to get this party started other than a character nobody knows nothing about? Satoshi. Satoshi solved the Byzantine problem, if I'm not saying that incorrectly. The double spin problem. Once that was worked out by, the monetary messiah, Satoshi, now everybody mama forked Bitcoin, created their own code, ran their own projects. Now we got a whole 11,000, 10,000 projects, all enticing people to go get rich and buy some coins and flip them and trade them, while they're taking that tech, they're building their own versions of it. It's closed, it's centralized, it's just like the old system, and they're going to now make sure that you're involved in it. Just like I believe FedCoin is already ready. All these projects are ready. They just need the right atmosphere, but it's coming. So that's my antithesis to this, or reaction. Satoshi's the sophomore idea, because now in the tech space, every single crypto person is saying that software can solve a problem. And you go even further. I got a couple more videos I'm gonna do talking about all the other tech hindrances. I shared a video on Telegram earlier talking about the future of work. And the future of work don't include you working, I'll tell you that much. Because AI, robotics, and machine learning algorithms, they're replacing everything that is mundane work. If it's something that can be strategically calculated, it's going to be replaced by technology. And then the question they're trying to figure out now is, how do we fit into that? And then you got some people in the crypto space saying, well, it provides unlimited time. You can do what you want to do. You can then seek your calling. You can then, use your gifts, and, you can go take up a, second hobby. I'm like, huh? Do you think people who've been conditioned to work for 40 years, give their best up front, and retire at the end, going to adjust to the fact that they're no longer needed? They're expendable now. It's a hell of a shock coming, people. But it don't have to be that way. And I'm going to get into more why that is. Anyway, let's keep this party going real quick. Let me get to some more. So reaction, in my estimates, is computer code. And a lot of people say it's gold 2.0, Bitcoin. What a coincidence. Oh, what better selling, thing is that? Sounds like XRP. ISP Incorporated, fill in the blank. If it's blockchain, digital ledger technology based, it's computer code. It wasn't created for you to win. Put it like that. Now, I could be wrong. I hope I'm wrong. But then again, this is the type of talk I want to have with the crypto people. Say, hey, if XRP is all this in a bag of chips, then how will you still, at the end of all this, own nothing? You know what I'm saying? That's the question we got to have. Between, fill in the blank between the time the plan was set and they told us what to expect. If they win, you're not going to own nothing. How do you pull that off? And that's what I would wonder when it comes to the consensus of all these programs. You better believe if your bag ain't big enough to be on a board or be a shareholder in Davos right now, if you're not in Davos right now, sitting across from, Garland House and Swartz, XRP people, if you're not next to them people right now, believe me, the plan going to change on you, buddy. You can mark my words. Take that to the bank. I'm just, being comical with it. So I'm not really, anyway, just being comical. But yet, this is the type of stuff that, we got to have these conversations. Okay, keep it moving. So I hope we all see the reaction which is the selling point. Like, the problem is hyperinflationary currencies, enslavement of humanity. How do you free humanity? Oh, give them some Bitcoin. Let them hold it in their bags for 100 years. It's going to go and compound interest, and it's going to be $1 million. But then again, you won't be able to use it unless you got the mark of the beast, type of stuff. Okay. Now let's get to the solution. Digital gold. This is what's out here. So the synthesis, the solution to all this, the way that we're being sold, is that you can't beat them, so join them. And so now we got where we at right now. You can't beat them, so join them. So people really think now that the banks couldn't beat us. They couldn't take down Bitcoin. They can't stop it. It's immutable. It's universal energy that keeps compounding on the top of speed of light. Of course, I don't know where the node's at. I don't know who consumes the most power. I can't, shut the power off. Okay, yeah, sure. To secure the network, the hash rate, whatever. Okay, sure. So now we got the primary puppet, Bukele. The fact that Bukele's still out here being himself, doing what he's doing, having a conference. He's held a conference with 32 central banks and 12 financial ministers. And the IMF, they're mad. The World Bank, they're mad. Do you really think that's the case when we were told that we were going to be at a turning point where there was going to be a world currency? And the world currency, to be frank, as I mentioned, it's just blockchain, digital ledger style, whatever, because it's all beta 1. And so whether it's Bitcoin, XRP, fill in the blank, whatever you like best, it don't matter. Problem is you don't write the code. So you're going to have a hard time trying to, I just really believe that the consensus model will change because they can't have competition, as one of the people said. And they can't have people sitting around with big bags of currency on one side, cryptos, and then again, they got another part of the population that, can't feed themselves. And, you're supposed to be living high on the hill. Something's going to change. So here we got the fact that central banks now, and then Jamie Dimon, they're all excited. So that right there was the turning point. The moment they got excited, it was only natural for me to realize that the solution was already set. They already knew what they had in mind. They just needed the time and the free publicity and all the technical crypto people who are completely orange pill. The orange pill has, as I mentioned before, it's like they took the orange pill and all human rationale, all criticism, all skepticism went out the window. Now it's like my bag gotta grow. I'm gonna do whatever it takes to get my bag big. I'm gonna promote, pump, and dump, and long as my bag is big. And that's the problem I have. So in a nutshell, here's the Hegelian dialect as to how things are shaping out, how it's playing out. And boy, I see how this is just a part of the plan all along. I hope I'm wrong, but time will tell. And just out of curiosity out there, based upon the information that was laid out, all the thoughts shared, and of course I can go back and watch and see all the comments. So when I put together my hypothesis completely with bullet points, asking questions about this, appreciate the love, people. How this all plays out, people will be able to, hopefully give me some good feedback as far as saying, hey, Mike, that's something I ain't thinking about. Or, man, you're too far gone. You've been, red pilling and all types of other pills you've been taking, stuff like that. But then again, I don't want to be proven right. I don't want to be right. If this turns out to be the case, a couple years from now, everyone's still here. Everyone's still moving forward. No real sudden changes of life. And they find out that all this was a booby trap. When the truth is revealed, there's going to be a lot of heaviness on consciences out there because people ignored the signs that was right there in front of them, and or they sold out for their bags. And when I say bags, they sold out for their own gain. I saw somebody put out here greed. Greed is a very dangerous thing. And there's no long-term fruit beyond this life with that particular model there. But that's just my personal opinion. Crazy truth. Yeah, but the good thing is I ain't really taking nothing. I take vitamin C, D, and all the other stuff, but I ain't taking nothing else. So I don't think I'm too far gone. But this is the type of talk I want to have. And let me see, I wrote down, I got 4 other Bitcoin magazine angles that I'm going to be doing. And then I was talking to David Morgan earlier, because he retweeted one of my videos and we were talking and I was, telling him how I'm gonna have him and John on the show. because I interviewed them both, and they're both great guys. And so, Dave don't get a chance to talk much when John Perez is doing his rant. So I'm gonna have them all on, and we're gonna go back and forth, and I'm gonna ask them to lay out their ideas and thoughts according to the magazines I put together moving forward. But Vitro, I did. So I had Jeff Booth on. I had Jeff Booth on before he blew up. So, the price of tomorrow, his book, I interviewed him for that. And I went at him a little bit skeptical. And I realized at that moment, that's where it was a wake-up moment for me. And I could be 100 with this, because when I got done, I was educated, and it exposed my ignorance towards the whole tech side of things. And so I was literally, so here's the video here. So it was great conversation. And so by him being submerged in tech and being a tech head, tech guru, whatever, his viewpoint is on the way he sees his paradigm is he's a creator. He's an inventor. So he only sees the good that he can create using technology. And that's his focus. He's invested in a lot of companies that are there. So he's a part of the paradigm shifters where he's changing the way things are done in the tech space. So his viewpoint, like regardless of whether he know about the banking structure, he knows about all that, but whether he'll point credit and get credit due to them saying that he's actually helping them out, I doubt he would say something like that. But then again, if he was willing to come on again, I would definitely love to, chop it up with him and have him share his 2 cents, because that's a smart man. I'm nowhere near intellectually, smart as my man when it comes to tech. But then again, I like to merge my little bit of tech, my little bit of monetary literacy, and my kingdom all together, which makes me me. And I can live with that. Yeah, that's just me, man. But anyway, so with that being the case, get ready to dial off. I just want to check in real quick and, share my 2 cents about this Hegelian dialect, and get your thoughts. So, if you're watching the repeat, put your thoughts down below. And this is a call for all my content creators out there. If you're a writer, especially, I could definitely use some help writing this down according to your analysis and thoughts. Put it out there, and I can just use and leverage and put out there. And if you do videos, I encourage you to take your videos, put them in the Discord and the Telegram, and share it with the community, because the only way we can learn is if we learn from each other. Of course, no spamming, you'll be deleted, but just share content, share value, man. And if it's worthwhile, people will come back and mess with you. So that's just my call for those that are out there who, have a gift, have ability to communicate, share it in the Discord, share it in the chat. An alternative. Mike, you still plan on learning code? Yes, I did. I took a class. I took some online stuff. I got through trying to learn Python. I got through some of the basic commands, was having fun. Schedule-wise, it's just, it's hard to sit down and focus on just the computer, especially the fact I'm in front of the computer so much. And it's like, man, I took some time off and fell away. But then again, I am interested in taking Michael Saylor's, some of his courses, because those things are going to be accredited, and you can actually, use those for, like real world things and get, content creating opportunities out there. So, so B-Trio says Bitcoin is also an idea of freedom. We all know it exists. We seek it. It's not going anyway. Question is, will we obtain it? B-Trio. So freedom. That's the ultimate agenda. That's the ultimate goal for humanity, no doubt. But on the other side of that, who's trying to remove our freedom is what we got to be concerned with, because based upon the way they're using the technology now, they're trying to take away our freedom, and they're trying to make us ask for permission using this technology. And that's where it's like, okay, if freedom is the goal, based upon the way things are unfolding right now, we've never been free, first of all, because your passport, read the last page on the back says, this is property of the United States government, which means that if you don't got the passport, you can't travel, in a sense. So I get your idea, I get your point. But, we got much bigger much bigger fish to fry. Yeah. All right. So with that being the case, it's 49 minutes. I appreciate everybody for blessing me with your presence, your time. If you have not, hit the thumbs up button, show your support for the channel, and be on the lookout for more the Banksters magazines. I'm going to be doing more of these because I got 4 or 5 rants off the top of my head. Need to put together my thoughts, and then of course I'm get your feedback. any content creators, put it in the chat, reach out to me via email. Let's collaborate a little bit. I would love to be able to help other people, pursue their interest in sharing with the community, because once again, like, bright minds, together is much more powerful than just one man behind a mic ranting. So you guys are a lot smarter than me. So I appreciate you guys. But anyway, about to go just hang out a little bit. It's my birthday week. So, I like to do things every day, celebrate every day. But anyway, be blessed, be safe. And of course, I got more stuff that I'm going to share with you guys that excites me, that I think will definitely be a blessing to those that are, wanting to receive it. So anyway, be blessed, be safe, and back at it again tomorrow, Lord willing. Shalom.